Bacteria is the most common form of life, okay. And the underlined phrases bacteria is, the options are bacteria are, bacterium are, bacteria was. Yeah? What do you think? Do you think it's correct as it is? Should you change anything? Do you see any difference in the options? What do you guys think? Let me have some answers. Everybody said option 4. Now I'm sure this is another thing that you guys were not familiar with. Now just to let you know, bacteria, this is due with noun numbers. Okay? Bacteria is always plural. Okay? What is the singular form of bacteria? It's right here. Bacterium, on the other hand, is the singular form. Okay? So this is to do with noun numbers. Maybe you didn't know this. So obviously because bacteria is plural, I need are and not is. Okay? And I can't use bacterium because bacterium is singular. So if I have to use bacterium, I will say bacterium is. Right? Then it will be option 2. So the answer is option 1. Right? So though most of us, see, the problem with English is we go with what we hear people say. Right? We've heard people say bacteria is. So we think that is correct. So that's the problem most of us face, because what is commonly used is acceptable and becomes, and we think it is correct. Because we don't know either we don't know the basic rule or the fact. Right? The fact is bacteria is plural, bacterium is singular. So obviously now that you know this, it's not Greek or Latin, right? It's a very simple concept. It's to do with noun numbers, right? So this is a noun number concept. Now that you know this, you will never make a mistake with respect to bacteria and bacterium. Yeah, don't worry about it. So the answer is option 1. So those of you who said option 1, correct. So it's nice when we are learning, right? When we are also correcting what we thought was right. That's what spot the error questions do, which is really helpful. I think all of you should just take up at least 20 to 25 spot the error questions on a daily basis, and you will definitely master the language. I'm sure. Everyone was moved with tears at his sad story. So this is another good example of collocations. The first question that we saw, she insisted on doing something. You always insist on doing something. So can you look at the options, look at the question, identify a clue word from the question, and look at the options and tell me which can be the right option in terms of associated words. This word has to go with this word because of the clue word in the context. So can you tell me what that is? Somebody first tell me what is the clue word from the context. I have option 1, I have option 3. Tears. That is my clue word. So what is the collocation? What would you normally say when you are associating move and tears? Which preposition will come? You might have heard people say this. Just try and recollect what sounds correct. Because collocations are all about that, right? You've heard people say this repeatedly in different situations. So what can be the right preposition between moved and tears? And if you look at the options, everything has to do with preposition, right? You have with, you have by, you have to, and you have in. All of these are prepositions. Which preposition will come here? Is it moved in? Is it moved by? Is it moved with? Or is it moved to? Which is the collocation? Okay, so let's address all of these options first. Now, I know that with as a preposition brings in the meaning of togetherness, right? If I say, I moved with this person, right? I moved with this person to a new house, which means my friend and I moved together, right? That's not the meaning the context is saying. Moved by, you can be moved by something, right? You see something, you feel very emotional. It's a very sensitive thing, so you moved by that. Maybe you see a young child begging on the road, right? You empathize with that child. You are moved by that situation, by that child, looking at that child's condition or plight that he or she has to beg, right, at this tender age. You're moved by something. Moved in again. I moved in to my new apartment, which means what? I shifted, right? So these are all not the meanings that the context is saying. Now, having said that our clue word is tears, you're always moved to tears. You're not moved by tears. See, you look at something and then you're moved to tears, right? It's not like the tears are making you move. You're not moved by the tears. Are you following? There's a difference. You can never be moved by tears. You see something and then you move to tears because of that. Are you following, guys? Yeah? So, go back to the context. Everyone was moved to tears. That's your collocation with tears. But all of the other things are also collocations, but they are applied in different contexts. Move in, shift, or move in with a friend to an apartment, right? My friend and I decided to stay together, live together. Moved by, you see something, a situation moves you, right? You are moved by something that you see or someone, right? But when it comes to tears, the preposition that goes with is to. Okay, now you know this. So that's why I said collocations are really, really helpful to get the right answer. Eliminate all the wrong answer options. Yeah. He behaves as if he is the supreme leader. As if he is the underlined phrase. As he is, as if he were, as if he was. So, what do you think is the answer? Now, another thing that I want to quickly point out to all of you is, when it comes to the English language, a lot of us go with what is conversational. Remember, conversational English is not the same as grammatical, written, formal English, right? There are a lot of, things that we think is okay to say, is acceptable. And over the years, it may become acceptable, but just keep that in mind. Going back, I have some answers. I have option 2, option 4. It's between 2 and 4, 2 and 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay. Let's see. Now, in the context, is this person a supreme leader? No, he is not, right? So, when you say he is so and so, which means you're either talking about a fact or a general truth. That's when you use a simple present tense. Na? You always use a simple present tense to talk about a fact or a truth. But in the context, he's not a supreme leader. He's behaving like he was one. Which means, what are we saying? We're talking about a hypothetical situation, right? An imagined situation. He is thinking that he is a leader and he's behaving like that. But the actuality or the truth is he is not. So, having said that, whenever you have a hypothetical situation, we always use if he were, as if he were, right? This is also a construction that you will find in if conditionals, right? Where we are talking about hypothetical situations or imagined situations. That's not the truth. That's not what is actually the fact. But it's like, if I were a millionaire, I would travel the world. Am I a millionaire? No. But I'm imagining that situation. It's a hypothetical situation. Imagine I am a millionaire. What would I do? Right? It's the same thing here. So in the context, he is not a supreme leader, but he is behaving as if he were one. So the answer is option 2. We will not go with anything that is referring to a direct simple present tense, which is the given option where most of you said no improvement, incorrect, and some of you came back and said option 1, that is also incorrect. There again, we're not looking that because we're not talking about a past situation. We're talking about this person who is not a supreme leader but is behaving like one. So the right construction would be he behaves as if he were one. Yeah? So the answer is option 2. Clear? So this is to do with a general understanding of if conditionals, looking at the context and trying to understand that, hey, this is not the truth, this is not a fact, he is not a supreme leader, but he's behaving like one. So we're talking about a hypothetical situation. So I can't use a simple present tense which always talks about general truth, facts, or I can't use a past tense, was, right? This is right now, he's behaving like that, right? But that is not the point in case. So I need a hypothetical phrase which is if he were. Clear?